Hi, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today we're going to be talking about how to deliver differentiated professional development for your teachers if you are a new AP, assistant principal, coming into the job and your principal has asked you to deliver some professional development. Let's get started. All right, so I'm recording this at the beginning of the school year, and a lot of APs are talking about what professional development they are going to deliver at the beginning of the year. And I posted a video on TikTok that basically said, don't do much. In fact, you should get them into professional development and get them out of professional development as quickly as possible because they're busy setting up their rooms. They're already underwater. They have so much to do. And if you drag them in and give them this whole big, long professional development that may or may not apply to what they're doing, it's just going to cause some animosity. I also recommend getting them out quickly. So 10 minutes early, 15 minutes early. That was a rule for me whenever I did professional development because it was like a pleasant surprise for them that they got to leave the meeting early. They're tired, they're overworked, and unless you have something so engaging and something so amazing, they do not want to be there. Also, icebreakers and group work and all this crazy stuff that a lot of people want to do has, in my experience, made teachers angry. They like the sit and get. They just want to get the information and get out of there and get on with their lives. Now, some people were upset by that. They said, I think this is a bad message you're sending. This is discouraging for new APs. And I certainly don't want to be discouraging. I'm just sharing in my experience as a teacher and as an AP and a new AP once that I made some mistakes that made teachers not want to come to my professional development. And one of them was being overly ambitious about the first week of school and trying to do a whole new strategy that every content area should do. And so I highly recommend that if you are tasked with professional development, do whatever you need to do through the district because they are going to have things that you need to give to your new teachers. That's just the way it is, or to teachers in general. But I would do it as a sit and get them out as quickly as possible for the first week of school. In subsequent professional development sessions, I would do a lot more for sure. But that first week, I wouldn't be doing icebreakers and keeping them there long hours and all of that because it's just too much. So once we have done the quick professional development, get them in, get them out, and you want to then maybe the next month or the next week or whatever, bring in some professional development for your teachers, the first thing I want you to consider is differentiation. If you try to do the same professional development for all the teachers, you're going to lose them. For example, let's say you want to do a reading in the content area strategy for all your content area teachers. Well, that works really well for science and social studies and English language arts, but not so good for math. And you might say, well, math can use reading in the content area strategies for word problems. No, they can't. Math is a different subject area. Yes, they have word problems, but they're not using reading strategies for word problems. They're using strategic thinking to pull out information, use the answer choices, and get it correct. It's much different than reading in the content area. And forcing math teachers to sit through a reading in the content area professional development is not only unproductive, but it also is insulting to them. They do not like it, and rightfully so. It's a waste of time. Your PE teachers, they don't want a reading in the content area strategy either. And you might say, well, PE is an opportunity to read something. No, it's not. It's PE. I remember visiting some schools and there were a couple of principals who were all about reading, and they had their PE teachers doing 15 minutes of reading in the locker room before PE. Sorry, don't agree with that. You can come at me in the comments all you want. PE is PE. Dress up, get out there, go out into the gym and do PE. Is there an opportunity perhaps to read over some rules of a game together or something like that? Yes, but making kids sit in a stinky locker room for 15 minutes before they go out on the court reading something from some random PE book is totally unproductive and makes people upset. So again, reading in the content area, not necessarily great for PE. Also art, pottery, whatever, music. You might say, well, music is a way to read in the content area. Sure, but music teachers are there to teach music. And there are opportunities, here and there to read some things about music, but ultimately the arts are to do art, to learn about art as well. But reading in the content area works for social studies for sure. Science is a huge opportunity to read and write for sure. English language arts, and of course, reading class. But math, PE, arts, theater, no, that's not what we're doing. And if you try to do it with everybody, they're going to be upset and feel like you're wasting their time. So what can you do instead? Well, the first thing I would do is survey your teachers. I would ask them what they need. So I would send out a survey, maybe with some options also, because if you just say, hey, what do you need? People don't really know what they need. So I would probably have some sort of like multiple choice where they can choose different things or rank their professional development. Like, I want this one, number 1, number 2, number 3. That would be very helpful. And then take the time to really analyze those surveys and figure out how you can meet the needs of every teacher. Just like in the classroom, we want our instruction to be differentiated. As assistant principals, we want our professional development to be differentiated. Now, does that mean we can hit every single professional development every time for everyone? No, but we can try to differentiate within the parameters that we have. So surveying teachers, figuring out what they want, giving them some options to rank is huge. The next thing I would do if I were an AP delivering professional development is not deliver it myself. I will tell you the best professional developments I ever did came from other teachers. I grabbed a few teachers who really wanted to deliver professional development and wanted to be teacher leaders. And I trained them on what to do and helped them and supported them. And they delivered the professional development to their PLCs or their departments or their teams or however your school is structured. Be behind the scenes supporting teacher leaders to do the work. Teachers want to hear from other teachers. They don't want to hear from the AP. So try to use those teachers who are really good at delivering instruction and help them shine as they deliver professional development to their teams. And this is a great way to differentiate as well, because you can have the math team do their own professional development based on what they need. And you can have the English department do their own professional development, or the first grade team versus the third grade team, right? They have different needs. So differentiate that way and get different teachers to deliver that professional development. I'll give you a quick example that I use a lot. That was not my idea. It was actually the idea of my colleague. She had the math department stand up in front of the entire school and go over an initiative that we had been working so hard on as assistant principals. The easy thing would have been for us all to stand up there as APs and say, this is what we're doing. This is what we need you to do. She had the idea of taking the math department heads who were baseball coaches, who people were not expecting to be delivering professional development. Okay, these guys were usually out the door when the bell rings to get onto the field. They are not the overachiever teachers in the building. When they got up and told people what they were doing and how it was working and showed the data and all that, every single teacher's eyes were on those other fellow teachers. If I had stood up and given that professional development, if my colleague had stood up and given that professional development, it would have been lost. But having the math guys, the baseball coaches stand up and give it was priceless, and everybody bought in and people really worked hard on the initiative. So don't deliver it, give it to somebody else, train them, support them, and allow them to deliver it to their teams. And finally, remember, professional development is only as good as it can be used immediately in the classroom. You want to make sure that whatever strategy, whatever skill you are doing, that everybody in the room can use it immediately. Now, that's why we differentiate based on what I just told you earlier, but also you could do something that teachers can use right away. One of the things that I like to do with teachers at the beginning of the year is to show them how to locate their test specifications and the standards that are assessed on the end of school exam. So for example, everybody has to take the ELA statewide assessment, the algebra statewide assessment, the writing assessment, the science assessment, the civics assessment, whatever is the assessment that your content area takes at the end of the year. I like to show teachers how to use test specs and blueprints to figure out what that test is going to look like when the students take it in May or April or whenever they take it, and how to build test questions inside their classrooms, inside their classroom assessments that mirror those questions, because there are going to be sample questions on these test specs, all of the standards that are assessed, the information, how the questions are written. And I like to show teachers how to use that information so that they can pass that on to their students. That's a really helpful one. Now, I will do a separate video on that because it takes a long time. So that'll be my next video after this, how to use the test specs to make instructional decisions and plan out your lessons. So you're basically showing students how to pass the exam without it being test prep, just kind of using it organically. And I'll do that in another video. But that is something I would do to help teachers use something, especially content area teachers, how to use something in their classroom. Now, for PE, art, and other content areas that are not assessed with an end of course exam or statewide assessment, I would figure something else out. So that professional development, and I was the expert in that area. So I was the best one to deliver that one professional development, but all the others, I usually had teachers deliver the professional development. So there are going to be times when you have to deliver it, but I would do that sparingly, because then they want to hear from you. If they're hearing from you all the time, they're sick of you. Trust me, they're busy. And it's not to be mean, and it's not to make teachers out to be like, just mean people who don't want to listen to you. It's just that they're busy. And just like students, it's hard to engage people who are busy and who have their mind on something else. So respect their time, get them in, get them out, give them something that they can use. Differentiate, please differentiate by using a survey or some other questioning tool. And then, of course, have other teachers deliver the professional development whenever possible. That is going to help engagement, buy-in, and all the things you want as an assistant principal. All right, so I hope that helps you today. Again, I'm not trying to diminish anyone's spirit. You may have had a beautifully nice professional development outlined and ready to go for your first week of school, and I might have just squashed it. But remember, we can all get better. So I would also administer a survey at the end and ask teachers what you can do to help them meet their professional development goals. You'll get some snarky remarks, because people are busy, but for the most part, teachers are amazing, and they're going to help you shine just like you're going to help them shine. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to comment and like it and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Have a great day.